Are direct-to-film or DTF transfers going to kill the screen printing industry? Inquiring minds want to know. Welcome to the AlmighTees channel. Pull up a chair and stay a while. We're going to talk about that next. One thing that we don't need to do is to panic. I know when it comes to technology, and whenever a new technology comes into a particular industry, those that are doing it a more antiquated or old-fashioned way have a tendency to think that it's going to eliminate their way of doing things. But let's not worry about it as screen printers. The one thing that we have to realize is that screen printing has been around a very long time, and I really don't see it going away anytime soon. Remember DTG? That emerged onto the scene, and everybody thought that was going to be a screen print killer. Well, it didn't. DTG is something that's still out there, just like screen printing is still out there. We need not fret, because the reality of it is that if we want to stand the long term, we're going to need to embrace change and utilize it. Use it to our advantage and not look at it as an enemy. And when I say embrace DTF, what do I mean? Well, one of the first things you can do as screen printers is outsource it. I'm not saying go run out and spend $20,000 on a whole new DTF printer. First, you have to see if your particular business model, it can be utilized. And what we're finding out is more clients are coming in and wanting orders with fewer quantities and more colors than we can possibly screen print. Plus, even the justification of trying to print a multicolor order on a small quantity with the screen charges and all the printing that's involved, for most people, it's just not financially feasible. So what have we done? We've found a DTF printing company in Charlotte, North Carolina. And what we do is we upload our gang sheets, our pre-spaced out gang sheets. They print them and ship them back out to us, and we get them within 2-day turnaround. So that even helps us with our standard screen print turnaround dates. What are some of the pros and the cons of DTF and why we shouldn't worry about whether or not it's going to kill the screen printing industry? There are still many types of specialty inks that DTF can't handle. Now, there is a new printer, the RQuatro, is now being able to print fluorescent, so that's something that's emerged onto the scene. But one thing we need to think about is how many people are going to be able to afford that kind of a machine or that kind of a printer early on. It's not going to be cheap. So there are going to be some other inks that it can't print, a DTF printer can't print. It can't print puff. It can't print, at least for now, metallics. They'll figure out a way as time goes on how to add some of these specialty inks to these printers. But as of right now, I'm hearing that they can print on a glitter film, but that it's not printing traditional glitter ink like we would in the screen printing industry. One of the other things that we don't need to worry about is the fact that there are going to be people, plain and simple, just don't like the feel of DTF transfers. People have a preconceived idea, whether it's right or wrong, that transfers are a bad thing. A lot of my clients will ask me, are they like the transfers we used to get back in the day at the beach whenever we would pick a shirt and a transfer off the wall and they would heat press it right then and there? No, unfortunately, those aren't the same transfers. The technology has come an awfully long way, but still, a lot of people still are reminded of those days and how they would crack and peel. Now, I try to reassure them and even have samples here at the shop that they can actually feel and touch to give them a little more assurance that this is something that isn't the same thing by any stretch of the imagination, and that they should be able to use it and it would serve them well for many, many washes. As a matter of fact, last year in 2024, I had a client that wanted a 4-color left chest and a 4-color back on about 30 shirts. And I felt DTF may be a perfect option for this particular client. Well, I basically quoted them on screen printing with screen and setup and DTF. And would you believe it that even though the DTF was the cheaper option, they still chose screen printing? They came by the shop and I showed them a sample of what some of the DTF transfers that I had been getting, and they just didn't like the way it felt, and so they went with screen printing. So you're still going to have those young and old alike that just like the idea of screen printing, and they're going to want to use that type of process to have their garments decorated. What about the longevity or the durability of the prints? The DTF more specifically. Well, there are some DTF printing companies that claim that you should be able to at least get 50 washes before they begin to crack. Unfortunately, I've put them through their paces, and I'm just not 100% convinced that they get that kind of longevity quite yet. And I've even seen a new company that we've been buying from that claims that if you follow their directions with how to care for their transfers after they're pressed, that you should get well over 100 washes before it begins to peel or crack. Now, let's just be honest, even screen printing doesn't last forever. Even screen printing that I use here at our shop for our own purposes, our own AlmighTees shirts, our ink still cracks. And you know what I even do is I add a stretch additive to all my white ink, since we do a lot of print flash printing on our underbases, to try to give it a little more flexibility. And still, depending on how you launder it and how often you wear and wash it, that is also going to have a huge impact on whether or not your screen printing starts to crack. The same goes for DTF. If these are work shirts and you're wearing them every day and you're laundering them frequently in harsh detergents and hot water and drying them in high heat, you're probably not going to get the life expectancy out of them that you would hope. But just like anything, nothing lasts forever. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. Would you mind giving it a thumbs up? Would you even consider subscribing to the channel? And if you do, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll be alerted whenever we upload new content. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.